So I just saw The Disaster Artist, based on the hit book by Greg Sestero, and Tom Bissell, who I feel does not get enough credit. He did co-author this book, so he definitely deserves credit for that. And yeah, I've been trying to get a lot of credit to this film and try to tell everybody about it and the book when it first came out and stuff like that. Not realizing I didn't have to. This really is blowing up, and people are talking Oscar buzz about it. It's getting great critical response. The audience I saw it with loved it. I saw it at the Music Box in Chicago. They do a screening of The Room every month. So they were laughing at scenes even before they happened because they knew what was going to come of it. So a part of me was wondering, should I start off this review with the Tommy Wiseau wig and doing the voice and stuff like that? And I decided no, because where The Room is very much Tommy Wiseau's accomplishment, this is very much Greg Sestero's accomplishment. I don't mind making fun of Tommy Wiseau, but Greg Sestero is a really cool guy, super sweet, has been very supportive of us, loved the review of The Room. Anytime Tommy Wiseau comes after us with like a lawsuit or whatever, he tries to take us down. He's usually good enough to go and sort of, talk with him and stuff like that. And just so we don't have enough nice things to say about Greg Sestero, and he really did write a fantastic book. Definitely go check that out now that you've probably gone and check out this movie. So my thoughts on this movie, yeah, what everyone's saying is right. It's a really great movie. It captured the soul of the book very much. Any problems I have with it are nitpicky. It's one of those things where, I'll say this, it was very surreal. This is the first time I've seen a movie where I know the main character and it's played by a different person. That's very surreal. I'll watch Dave Franco perform as Greg Sestero, and I'll be like, well, Greg doesn't really sound like that, or Greg wouldn't really do that. It's like, it's a movie. This is a fine performance. Both him and James, give fine performances, and are both wonderful, but it's just weird. It's jarring, because it's the first time I've ever, come across that. So I'm immediately like, well, he doesn't do that, or I mean, not that me and Sestero are super close, but I mean, it's a little weird when you know someone and you see them being portrayed on the big screen. But he's wonderful. He's definitely the straight man to James Franco as Tommy Wiseau. James Franco is ridiculously good. And I want to clarify what I mean by that. Because I think people think they're gonna see this movie and see something it's gonna be like the end of Coco. It's gonna make you cry. It's gonna be really gut wrenching. It's not quite that. That's not the kind of good it is. But it's not just an impression either. James Franco really does well at getting not only the mannerisms and the voice. So creepy how close the voice is. I think the only other person I've seen do a better Tommy Wiseau is Greg Sestero, who does a really amazing Tommy Wiseau. But he, I hate using this phrase, but it's so cliche, but he really does kind of capture the soul. He captures the humanity of Tommy Wiseau. And there's definitely stuff left out of the book that shows a little bit more kind of the scumminess of Wiseau. I mean, they definitely don't shy away from all of it. They show a lot of the not just difficult, but really kind of, bad stuff he did, while making this movie, and even in the personal life and stuff like that. And they leave some of the worst stuff out, but again, even the bad stuff they do show, which some could argue, is a good thing or a bad thing, they really do show kind of the best way they can why he's doing this, which it's a very strange mindset, obviously, that Tommy Wiseau has. But they do show that he's human, and that's something where, if you kept up with us, we've had many run-ins with Tommy Wiseau. It's easy for us to forget that. It's easy for anyone to forget that someone is human. And I think this film does a good job at still finding that humanity, saying that, okay, no, even though we can't always follow it, it still comes from a very, very human place. And I think Tommy Wiseau, see, here's the thing, because people are complaining that they don't show enough of him being, like I said, the really meaner moments from the book. I'd argue there are quite a few in there, but maybe I'm seeing that because Tommy Wiseau is kind of like the perfect joke. He's very funny to watch when he's abusing other people. When you're the one being abused, it's not as funny. So when I'm watching this and I'm seeing him be really mean to this cast and crew and making these insane demands and not giving them water and keeping the heat up and showing up late and having them pass out and stuff like that, while many people in the crowd are laughing, I'm going, by God, he really did that to these people. I mean, these are really terrible things that he did, but when you hear his reasoning, it is funny, you know, and comedy, as they say, is tragedy plus time and everything, and this, time has passed, and hopefully a lot of the actors and people that work on this film have found the comedy in it. It sounds like a lot of them have. And yeah, so I say the big element to it that at first I thought I wasn't gonna like, because again, I mean, we've had many run-ins with this guy. He tried to take down an interview we did that he gave permission to be interviewed in. He's literally interviewed in, and he said, take it down. But again, I think this movie very much shows it comes from a human place. That doesn't mean we can't be happy with him or angry with him, depending on whether he's happy with us or angry with us, whatever. But it all comes from a human place. And I think that's why this film works so well. And I think that's why it's doing so well. That's why it's getting so much praise. And that's why people are talking Oscar buzz about it, because while it's definitely mocking him too, it is showing the humanity, and I know some people have a problem with that. Trust me, I get it, but at the same time, I think it's an important element to have in there, and I think it's important to have in there because I think that also represents why the film The Room is so beloved, because it does come from a passionate place. It does come from a very human place. Even though we always make fun of the fact, what is he, an alien? What is it? Like, we can't follow this mindset, but we can follow it just enough to laugh at it. There's just enough human in there for us to recognize and laugh at. We recognize the starting point, we just don't know how it got to the finishing point. So, you know, in between is the Tommy Wiseau filter. So, I think that's why this film is having such a strong reaction with people, even people who haven't seen the movie. You know, and at the end of this film, they show side-by-side comparisons of their version of Making the Room and then the original Room side-by-side and how close they got it. And I really feel like they did this for two reasons. One is to show really how close they got it, which is very impressive. I mean, we've done side-by-side stuff like this too, and it's tricky. So, I mean, the fact that they got it down that well is really something to be admired. But the other thing, in my opinion, is I think they did it to show, you know, this isn't an act. This really is how Wiseau was acting and how he talks and everything. Because I feel like if somebody went into this movie totally blind, knowing nothing about The Room, they say, well, what the hell is Franco doing? That's not a real person. That's a cartoon. That's a caricature. But it is. It's a real person. So I feel that was good to show at the end. Wait till after the credits, without giving too much away, just to show how eerily well James Franco gets Tommy Wiseau. I mean, particularly the voice and the inflections, it's really amazing. And I say with, you know, because obviously James Franco's gonna steal the show, everyone's gonna talk about him, but I feel Dave Franco, again, really kind of brings this humanity to Greg Sestero, you know, showing that he does see something in Tommy, and it sort of shows, again, it's sort of an exaggerated way, but it shows how kind of lost he was and why he would kind of be interested in Tommy. I feel they show it both visually and through dialogue. They show it very, very well, and just the acting as well. They show it's not. I mean, it's strange to see why he would go with this guy, but they explain it in a way where you understand. You understand the strangeness. I think that's probably the greatest accomplishment of the film, is that while it is still odd, you follow it better than you think you would follow it. You feel like you understand both Greg and Tommy more through these performances, and the book explains it wonderfully, but it's one of those things where, because the narration isn't in there, both Sestero and Bissell's narration isn't in there, you have to go entirely by dialogue, though I felt the script supervisor, played by, I don't think he's going to get enough credit, Seth Rogen, is really, really good. I feel like he's kind of the narrator. He's the commentary saying, well, wait, why would or how would? And if you've seen interviews with this guy, Seth Rogen is a brilliant casting choice. I thought he really, really nailed it. I mean, he got what this guy is about, how he pretty much did co-direct the film, it looks like. I mean, even taking out what he said in interviews and stuff like that. I mean, you just watch this movie and you'd be like, oh, well, that's like the co-director. He's saying, do we want to enter a take? Should we try? He's the one being more responsible half the time. So I'm glad they really kind of put focus on that too. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Is it something where I think it's going to win like Oscars and stuff like that? I think it'll get nominated. I don't know if it'll win. I think it's too weird. I think it's the equivalent of like nominating Johnny Depp for Jack Sparrow. It's like it's nominated, great. I don't think it's gonna win. I think it's too far out there, but but it's already winning awards. It's already winning Best Actor and stuff like that. So again, it's just something where I'm so happy to see this come as far as it has. I think it's really phenomenal. Even when all the bullshit was going on with, Tommy Wiseau trying to take us down, stuff like that, I still said go see The Room. I mean, it's really amazing. And now we have something else really amazing from it too. We have, this wonderful film directed by James Franco, who I really do not see in this performance. This is really, every time he's on screen, I'm like, okay, I'm watching Tommy Wiseau, I'm listening to Tommy Wiseau, and I don't see them as brothers either. I think that it's really easy sometimes to kind of see like, well, they're acting like their family, they're acting like, it's like, no, they seem like friends, and they seem like two very, very different people. They're sort of two sides of a different coin. And I really didn't feel like, oh, that's just two brothers working off each other. I felt like these were two very separate, very different people. So, yeah, I think that's about it. I think it's just, it's so cool. I mean, it's just, not only that this is out there and that it has, just all these little cameos in it and celebrities making these little guest appearances, and that it's a critical hit, and that it sounds like it's an audience hit, and I'm sure it's going to be a big hit in the box office. I really hope it is. There were lines around the block when I went to the Music Box. So I'm hoping this is as big a hit as it can be. And just again, to Greg Sestero, mad props to you, man. I mean, I literally just talked with you before filming this, but I just really want to say mad props to you again, man. I mean, just anything in Hollywood is difficult to get done, and I just remember from talking to you about, the review, to you talking about the book, to this movie come out and everything. It's just, it's so cool, and I really think you made a great story, and James Franco made a phenomenal film, and it's a lot of fun, and you do not need to have seen The Room in order to laugh at it. You will laugh more if you have, but you do not need to see it. I think it's an easy film to sit down and just pick up and start watching and see all the strange places it goes. And I think, again, that just comes from how strange it is, how funny it is, but it is still how touching it is too. And it never quite feels forced. There's definitely movie moments that you need to do. I mean, they condense stuff down from the book, but you need to, so the story flows more. And it really works. It just really works, and everything that needs to hit really hits. Nothing ever felt distracting. It's just a solid, great movie about a solid, bad movie that in and of itself became great. So, guys, that's about it. Go check it out. I'm sure you're already going to try to see it already. It's everything they're saying is right. It's a really cool, funny, strange, surreal, wonderful film, and you should definitely go check it out. So if you haven't already, go see it, have a great time, and if a lot of people learn to love each other, the world would be a better place to live. Take care.
This is the rhythm of the night. rhythm.